Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Silverstone, England for the European Le Mans Series 4 Hours of Silverstone. We have 32 cars on the field today, and while the sun may be out for now, in typical English fashion, the sun is never out for long, and the rain never far away.
Silverstone is an extremely fast circuit with long sweeping corners that require a lot of aerodynamic grip, but also commitment and bravery from the drivers. Get this right, and it's an exciting, fast-flowing circuit to drive. However, a small misjudgment at these speeds can also easily end your race in an instant. These risks would increase drastically when the more typical English weather arrives, the rain. A fast track when wet is extremely difficult, and this is where car control separates the good drivers from the great drivers. For us, this wasn't just another race. It was a chance for redemption after the chaotic race in Kota just a couple months ago, where tyre strategy, driver swap, and car balance made for a pretty bad race overall. Paul, being the faster out of the pair, once again did the qualifying laps, putting us in P8. This was a good start to the weekend. It's up far enough where some door-to-door racing is not likely going to snowball into chaos, but not too far behind, keeping us in reaching distance to the leaders.
The lights go green and we are racing in Silverstone, into Cops Corner, and the GT3s are already fighting for track position.
Lap 1, as expected, was pretty chaotic. One of the Porsche was quite aggressive and driving almost erratically, bumping into not only us but other cars. Going into Village, the Porsche spun out a Corvette and nearly drove into the side of us as well. We were both a little spooked. I even got flashbacks of lap 5 of Kota. Paul followed behind the Porsche at a safe-ish distance since they were still driving all over the track, and to make things worse, a random LMP2 car just decided to drive into the side of us.
The Porsche in front of me is like doing so many mistakes.
Whoa.
What is he doing?
What is he doing?
He just drove completely into me. Like,
But as reflected by their driving standards, they eventually lost the car and spun. Paul just managed to slow the car enough not to crash and finally managed to get past. With the Porsche no longer a problem and a pretty large gap ahead, he set out to catch up on the next pack of cars.
should I save any fuel or just full push?
Just full push because I don't know what it's going to be like with the rain at the end.
On lap 11, Paul caught up to the BMW, but he would be stuck behind there for the next 8 laps. Paul came in at the end of lap 24 to hand the car over to me, and I was going to be in here for a while. Thankfully, we didn't have any driver swap issues and I was able to take the car out of the box just fine. I was also going to be in the car for a double stint, so I had to get into the rhythm quickly and maintain it for roughly the next 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm out of the car.
Yep, I'm in the car.
Perfect.
Coming out of the pits, I was also reminded about my cold tires.
Tires are cold.
Yeah. Cold tires are insane to come out of the pits.
Yeah, don't mind me just mowing the lawn, but the grass is a little long, you know?
Really expensive lawnmower.
Yeah, I know. $500,000?
So everything till P3 is still reachable for us, and your pace is quite alright.
Yep, copy. So if I aim for a 2:03.5 as my lap time, is that on pace or do I need to be faster by a little bit?
That would be a really good lap time. So you would be the third fastest on the grid with this lap time at the moment. Only
Okay.
P1 and P2 are faster.
Okay, copy. I will aim for 2:03.5s.
At this point, most of the field was pretty spread out, so I was mostly driving by myself. My pace for the first while was okay, but halfway through the stint, my lap time seemed to just drop off a cliff. I went from doing 2:03s to nearly 2:05s. But it seemed like others were dropping back too, because even with my lap times getting slower, the gap ahead wasn't actually changing much.
Also, do you know what the lap times are looking like? Because I feel like the lap times have just fallen off a cliff.
Yeah, so the guys in front are doing like kind of the same lap times as you. P5 just did a 2:17,
Okay.
so there must have been a mistake, and P4 is 1.5 seconds slower than you.
Yeah, the track is really slow, or everyone's just suffering from tire drag.
You're kind of as fast as P2 and P3 at the moment.
It's really weird. I feel so slow.
Approaching the last third of my stint, the sky started to darken as rain clouds began to fill up the sky.
Oh,
Or
it's getting
sector 1
dark.
got really dark.
Would be perfect if it starts
If it
raining in
rains
about 6
anytime in the next
laps.
5 laps, it'll be great.
With 25% virtual energy left and the sky getting darker by the minute, in a weird way we were praying that it would start raining soon. If it started raining before we had to pit, we were likely able to save an extra pit stop to box for wet tires mid-stint. The only concern was that we had less fuel than most of the other cars around us, so it needed to start raining soon rather than later.
It's starting to rain.
Perfect timing for us.
This might be good for us.
And here comes the first drops of rain at Silverstone. The track will still be dry for now, but with the rain falling, the teams will likely be looking for when to pit for the wet tyres. And this is where the race can really start to shake up.
The first drops of rain were starting to fall and my stint was nearing its end. It was only a matter of time before the track would go from saturated to damp where the crossover point happens. The best case scenario for us now was the crossover period happening just as we needed to box.
Good if you fuel safe, you can go like,
Yeah, I'm gonna try
3 more
extend as
laps.
much as possible here.
and then I think we have just to go on the wet tires a bit early. P3 will have a massive problem because they have just 7% energy left.
I mean, we just got the crossover to damp. So potentially we'll be okay. I'll just have to nurse the tires for like the first couple laps. Most likely.
We are now slowly entering the crossover period at Silverstone, The grip will be starting to fall off fairly quickly now, and there will be a point where the medium tyres are no longer the optimal choice. It's now up to the teams to time this crossover onto the wet tyres to gain an advantage.
We got very lucky with our pit timing. Coming out of the pits, I wasn't sure how wet the track actually was, so I took it slow, trying not to scrub the tyres too much, but it was after being able to compare lap times with the medium runners ahead where we realized how well our pit timing actually lined up.
Looks like the mediums are losing grip. I'm catching them fairly quickly. Okay, I'm currently on +2 fuel save. I'll see how that goes.
So the medium runners are just doing 2:14, 2:16. And I think they are all going to box this lap.
Everyone should be boxing this lap, yeah.
P1, maybe he runs another lap.
We also started discussing potential race strategy moving forward quite early on. A rough lap estimate showed that if we extend our stint by 2 laps, we might just be able to finish the race with 1 more pit stop, avoiding the small splash at the end. Being able to discuss this in the early stages of the stint also made it so we could start fuel saving quite early on.
So how much laps can we do with a 100% virtual energy?
26, I believe.
And then it should work out actually. If you
I'm
do
also on-
like 23.
Yeah, I'm on a +2 fuel save right now. The fun thing is, if you do +2 fuel save, you can brake on your normal brake markers. Almost. As I say that, I go a little deep. Yeah, so on my MFD, it's coming up as 2.1 stint remaining. I think if we fuel save both stints, so your stint and my stint, I think we can make it with one more pit stop.
No.
Even with the heavy lifting and coasting, we were lapping a couple seconds faster than most of the cars ahead, so I continued to fuel save and focus on keeping the car on track.
I'm lifting and coasting quite a bit. If I need to pick the pace up a little, let me know, yeah?
So last lap you were 2.5 seconds faster than P5 and 1 second faster than P4.
Okay, so I'll probably aim for like a 2:15. That's like even slower than what I'm doing now.
Yeah, but if you do like 2:14s, that would be really good.
2:14?
Because the car, because the car behind us is slowly chasing, but only 1/10 last lap.
Copy.
Even with the heavy lifting and coasting, we were lapping a couple seconds faster than most of the cars ahead, so I continued to fuel save and focused on keeping the car on track. On lap 56, I was a couple seconds behind the Lambo and eventually will pass them because they made a mistake going into village. With the Lambo now behind us, my next car was the BMW about 15 seconds up the road. I know these lap times aren't amazing, but relative to the field, I was absolutely flying.
The car ahead did a 2:19.
Lapping on average 3 to 4 seconds faster than almost every other car in the field.
3 seconds faster, really good.
Lap by lap, I saw the gap coming down at a crazy rate, gaining a couple of seconds on the BMW each lap. On lap 61, I could physically see the BMW up ahead.
You're doing really good. You're more than a second faster in sector 2 compared to the car in front. So last lap, 3 seconds faster than before.
A couple laps later, on lap 65, I would be in touching distance of the BMW. I spent the next while behind the BMW, not really close enough to pass, but within reach if anything happened. I knew I had the pace advantage, so I stayed back a little outside of the dirty air and waited. The patience would eventually pay off at the end of lap 71, where our class leader had a massive slide onto the Wellington straight, causing a little bit of evasive driving on an LMP2 car, in turn slowing down the BMW I was chasing, giving me an opening to overtake for P3.
I'm just complaining that I can't see anything and I see a car gone off.
With the BMW now behind us and the leaders still quite a while ahead and holding better pace, my entire focus was on creating a gap behind. The rest of my stint was mostly quiet, just driving around alone until this happened.
Oh no.
How's the car?
Car's okay, surprisingly.
Are you still P3?
Yep,
Alright.
car's okay. Steering's like a little bent, but it's alright.
That should be fine.
On my end lap, I unsettled the rear of my car, putting me into a slide and ending up in the wall. It was a long, long slide. The nearly 12-second gap I built up gone in an instant. Hitting the wall and seeing my suspension line up yellow, my heart sank. But as I brought the car back onto the track, I realized the car felt basically fine. The steering was maybe a degree or two off, but aside from that, the car was okay. We somehow miraculously avoided any major damage, and I brought the car back into the pits to hand the car over to Paul.
So this is the other driver, right?
Yeah,
They changed.
That's the BMW. I will keep an eye on his lap time for you.
But he's on cold tires, so I should have him.
We did lose P3 to the BMW from earlier due to them overcussing us, but Paul quickly caught up and passed them again, reclaiming the podium position.
Good.
Just as things were looking good, we ran into some major traffic on lap 87, where he would spend the next 5 laps battling with lapped cars. We're both not really sure why this Ferrari was so defensive, but it ended up costing us a lot of lap time.
This cannot be real. What is he doing, mate?
I don't know.
I'm clearly faster than him, and he just...
He eventually managed to get past and quickly started to pull away now that he wasn't being held up. It was pretty frustrating for the both of us, but thankfully it didn't end in an accident and we can continue on. The remainder of his stint, I was mostly keeping track of Paul and the top 2 cars' fuel, since the race ends depending on where the LMP2 leaders finish. I told Paul to continue to lift and coast and save for 2 laps extra fuel just in case. The GT3 leaders also did have to come in for a splash, but they were so far ahead it basically didn't matter for us. All we had to do was maintain our podium position. Paul did also mention that he felt pretty good grip, but when I checked the MFD, the track was extremely wet. I just stayed quiet not to break his concentration and let him do his thing.
It feels like the track is getting better at the moment.
Really?
Yeah, kind of. Or I'm getting more comfortable in the car, I don't know, but
Probably that. Yeah.
it's really good at the moment.
Chad. The weather's shit. The track is extremely wet.
On lap 101, he did have a small slide, but nothing major. I think he just saw a long patch of grass and decided it needed a trim. I think now is also a good time to mention how good the Ferrari felt. While I wasn't able to convince Paul to drive the Porsche, I think the Ferrari was a great pick. The car feels great in high flowy corners of Silverstone, but the biggest win on choosing the Ferrari was how happy the car was to coast, which made fuel saving such a breeze. And this was especially important because the Ferrari on full push does eat up a lot of fuel.
I just got a Steam achievement.
For what?
I don't know, there was just a small pop-out.
yeah, the
Pop-up on the... yeah,
Alright,
the
just
sound
focus on driving.
scared me a bit.
7 laps to go, most likely. 6 or 7. Maybe less, actually.
The last 15 minutes of the race might have been the most nerve-wracking moment of the entire event. Just sitting there watching the timing screens, every second feeling like an eternity. The rain was still coming down, the track was unpredictable, so anything could still happen. But after everything, the chaos at the start, the spin and backwards, and the disappointment of Kosa, we were finally within reach of redemption. Every lap that went past bringing a mix of excitement and anxiety. Eventually, the clock hit 0 and the checkered flag waved. From 3rd to last in Kota to 3rd in Silverstone. Everything just came together. Silverstone really tested everything from us. The aggressive drivers, our fuel strategy, and the absolutely terrible British weather. Except this time, we didn't just survive. We came home with a podium finish. So for now, we can celebrate our first podium together and look ahead for another race in the future.
Well done, mate. Good job. P3. Well done.
Really nice.
P3.
I didn't expect anything like this.
No, neither. I was honestly pretty worried when my pace started dropping off on my first stint. I was like going 205 and I'm like, oh, this is not good. But well done. P3, good job, mate.
You too, mate. I was really scared of the rain because I've never driven in the rain before.
I got no practice in the rain, so except for
Yeah,
10 minutes this morning. Well done. Good job.
Was really clean,
That was good.
so no major...
We definitely
Crashed
got
with
very
other
lucky
cars.
when I went off on sector 1, but
Yeah.
no major damage thankfully. So yeah, GG's, good race.